Hello and welcome to Sacred Cards. Today I'm coming at you with an update to my Traptrix deck profile for July 2024. It's been a good month and I always have a great time when playing this deck. It will happily go first, whether chosen or forced, but it can definitely hold its own going second. So many different ways you can go about this deck in terms of ratios and other engines. For example, I have looked into the SacredCards and I love it, but we don't have them today. So I'm bringing you a pure, consistent build that does what the deck does best, but also focuses on its weaknesses, like clearing established monsters and going second. So with that said, let's get right into it here. First off is one of my favorites, 3 copies of Traptrix Pudica. I like her in my opening hand because she can search the garden field spell on normal summon. When special summon, she can banish a special summon monster the opponent controls. Keep in mind, during the standby phase, they can special summon one back, but it does clear the field. But in combination with the Traptrix XCs, you can actually take that monster instead. So that is a very cool interaction also. Next is 3 copies of Traptrix Murmillo. On normal summon, she will search a trap hole card, and on special summon, she will pop a spell trap card. This is a mandatory effect, so even if your opponent has none, it can trigger your copies of Sarah to set more hole cards to the field. 3 Mantis, also very important for the deck. On normal summon, you can search a Traptrix monster from deck to hand, and she also has a quick effect to return a set trap back to your hand should it be targeted or something like that. Next is 2 copies of Traptrix Dionea. I think this ratio has become very standard amongst the community. When normal summon, she can special summon a Traptrix monster from the grave, and when special summon, she can set a whole trap card from the grave. But it does get returned during the next standby phase if you don't use it. And rounding out the Traptrix monsters is 2 copies of Arachnacampa. Personally, I love this card, and I think 2 copies is perfect in my opinion. Has the quick effect, special summon itself from the hand if you control another Traptrix monster, plus protects all your set back row the first time they might be destroyed. So I like having a copy to extend with, and another to end up on or follow up. Now that's it for the Traptrix monsters. I did cut Vesiculo, I miss her dearly, but I did want to try cutting down the monsters for more disruption. So moving on, I'm playing 2 copies of Parallel Exceed. Now, I'm always messing around with how many of these to play, or cards like Shade Brigadine, which is better. Do I play one or the other? Both? For this list, I'm working with 2 Parallel XCs, just one to search out the other. And playing 2 copies instead of 3 reduces the risk of seeing 2 in the opening hand, but playing only 2 copies does in fact reduce the chance of seeing the card altogether, so do with that information what you will. Personally, for this list, I'm happy with this, but let me know what you all think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. For hand traps, I'm choosing to go with 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, and then we have, of course, our triple copies of Infinite Permanence. And finally, for going second, we have our 3 copies of Evenly Matched. So all of these slots can be filled with whatever you like. As I mentioned before, I want to give myself more of a chance if I have to go second. Actually, I did see a list that was playing 2 Pancratops, so I was considering playing that over the 2 Ghost Ogre. It's definitely an interesting idea that I will try. So that is it for the monsters and disruptions. Now for the spells, we have a single copy of Trap Trip Garden. Now this is an amazing field spell, searchable with our copies of Pudica. It gives you an extra normal summon and protects your monsters the first time they'd be destroyed by battle each turn. You can also banish a monster you control, special summon one from your hand or graveyard. Now, the only other spell card I'm playing is triple copies of Pot of Prosperity. Now, I think for this list, it's absolutely necessary because we have a balanced lineup of monsters, disruptions, and trap cards. In a perfect world, you would want to see a monster, trap card, and other forms of disruption. So, Pot of Prosperity really helps to maintain the deck's consistency. Next are the main trap cards, starting with a phenomenal extender in 3 copies of Traptrix Holutea. Can be activated the turn it's set by discarding a normal trap, then becomes a Traptrix name on the field. With level 4, 2400 defense. From the graveyard, it can banish itself to special summon another Traptrix name from the graveyard, which is a very handy effect to have. Then we have 2 copies of Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Being able to negate monster effects in the hand or graveyard and burn them for 2000 damage is really helpful to stop and break down our opponent. And the other 2 hole cards I've chosen to play is 1 copy of Floodgate Trap Hole and 1 Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. Both these I think are the most impactful, along with Gravediggers. Didn't want to go too overboard with the trap hole cards when the goal of the deck is to have a balance of engine and non-engine cards, which throughout testing seems the deck does just that. I often find myself to have everything I need, but not too much, if you know what I mean. Now that is it for the main deck cards. Now moving on to the extra deck. Kicking off with our 3 copies of Traptrix Sarah. Absolutely essential. She can special summon a Traptrix monster from the deck when a trap card is activated. She is unaffected by trap cards, and she can set a whole trap card from the deck when another Traptrix monster's effect is activated. Best card in the deck. 3 copies is mandatory in my opinion, especially if the game lasts a few turns. Now, the other Traptrix monster I'm playing is the Link 3 in Traptrix Adipus. When she is on the field, Traptrix monsters you control gain 1000 attack while you have a normal trap in the graveyard. Plus, you can return, once per turn, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect plant monsters you control, negate the effects, then banish a normal trap from the graveyard, destroy one of those targeted cards. And rounding out the Traptrix monsters are the Xyz in 1 copy of Rafflesia, 1 copy of Penguicula, and 1 copy of Alomaris. Each one of these rank 4s has a really unique effect that can all serve a purpose when used at the right time. All these cards are unaffected by trap effects. With Rafflesia, monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. She's the only one that can be targeted. The main effect is being able to detach material, apply one of your whole cards from the deck to the graveyard to use that effect. Penguicula is protected by the same type as the material under it. You can detach a material, add a Traptrix monster from deck to hand, and if a monster owned by your opponent is sent to the graveyard or banished by card effect, you can attach one of those monsters as material. Alomaris can detach 2 materials, special summon a Traptrix monster from the graveyard, and if an opponent's monster leaves the field because of your card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, she can detach a material, target one of them, special summon it to your field. Now for the non-Traptrix Link monsters, I play 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, 1 copy of Appaloosa, and 1 copy of Underworld Goddess. Unicorn obviously can shuffle back a problematic card on the opponent's field. Appaloosa is great for negating monster effects, and Underworld Goddess is great to link into by using one of your opponent's monsters, while also being incredibly difficult to deal with. Now, the other Xyz monsters I'm playing is 1 copy of Time Thief Redoer, 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, and 1 copy of Baguska. Now, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. Redoer gains different effects depending on what type of material it detaches. Abyss Dweller has quick effect detach material, shut down the opponent's graveyard, and Baguska is great for stalling out the opponent should you need to. And finally, the last 2 cards in the deck is 1 copy of Double A Zeus and 1 copy of Typhon Sky Crisis. Both these cards are exceptional at closing out games. Sometimes the deck like Traptrix just needs that little bit of push to secure a win, and these cards are great options to have. Well, that is it for the deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything you like or don't like, please leave me a comment telling me what you think. Be sure to like the video if you did, and subscribe for more content. Thank you for your support. I'm SacredCards. See you all in the next one.